There will come a day when you stand before someone who cannot see the brilliance that glows inside you. They will look upon your light and call it dim. They will see your strength and call it pride. They will hear your truth and call it noise. And in that moment, my dear, you will be tempted to shrink. You will be tempted to fold your wings just to fit inside the smallness of their sight. But remember this, your worth was never meant to be proven. It was meant to be known. You see, there are those who look at diamonds and see only stone. They lack the eyes trained by experience, by grace, by wisdom. You cannot fault them for that, but neither should you let them measure you by their limited sight. For your value is not in their appraisal, your value is in your being. You are the sum of every prayer whispered by your ancestors, every sunrise that met your struggle, every tear that baptized your resilience. When someone cannot see your worth, it does not mean you are invisible. It means their vision is small. Do not shrink to fit their frame. Rise instead, rise like dawn, constant, radiant, and sure of your coming. For no sunrise ever asks permission to shine. If you bend yourself for those who cannot see your greatness, you will break under the weight of their blindness. Your task is not to convince, but to continue. Continue walking tall, continue speaking truth. Continue loving yourself enough to stand where you are celebrated, not tolerated. Understand this, the one who ignores your light today may one day stumble in the dark searching for it. But by then you'll have gone further, higher, shining in places their shadow could never reach. You are not made for dim rooms or quiet corners. You are made for brilliance, for depth, for meaning. So when someone fails to see your worth, smile, straighten your back, and keep your head high. For the sun does not argue with the blind. Self-worth is not negotiable. It is not a coin to be traded, nor a favor to be earned. It is not something to be handed over to the opinions of others. Your worth, my dear, is the quiet truth that lives within your soul, unchanging, untouchable, undeniable. It does not rise and fall with the tides of approval. It does not dim when someone fails to recognize. It is constant, like the rhythm of your own heartbeat, faithful, unseen, but essential to your being. So many people spend their lives bending to be seen, shrinking to be accepted, or stretching to be loved. They twist themselves into shapes that please others, forgetting that every twist steals a piece of truth from who they are. But self-worth cannot be negotiated in this marketplace of validation. You cannot sell pieces of your soul to buy moments of belonging. The price is too high and the return is too low. You must know that not everyone is meant to see your value. Some eyes are untrained, some hearts are unready, and some minds are unwilling. That does not mean you are less. It means they are not capable of seeing the more that you are. When you understand that, you will stop offering discounts on your dignity just to be kept. You will stop lowering your value to fit inside the comfort zones of others who have yet to recognize their own. Self-worth is a covenant you make with yourself. It is a promise that you will not betray your own light, even when others fail to notice it. It is the voice that whispers, "I am enough," when the world shouts that you are not. It is the courage to walk away from spaces that dim you, even when your heart longs to stay. Because anything that requires you to become less of yourself to be loved is not love. It is imprisonment disguised as acceptance. When you begin to honor your own worth, the world shifts around you. People who used to take advantage of your kindness fall away. Conversations that drained you begin to lose their pull. You stop chasing after things that were never meant for you and start attracting what was waiting for your confidence to arrive. That is the power of knowing your worth. It calls forth the life that matches it. Your worth does not live in your mistakes or your past. It is not tied to your achievements or your failures. It is something you are born with, as natural as your breath, as sacred as your spirit. You were created with purpose, shaped by divine design. And no opinion can erase what the Creator has already declared good. So hold your head high. Speak your truth without apology. Walk in rooms as though you belong, because you do. And when someone fails to see your worth, remember, the sun doesn't stop shining just because someone closed their curtains. Perception and reality often dance in different directions, and many lose themselves trying to make others see both as one. What others see in you is merely a reflection of their own vision, not the truth of your being. Some people's eyes are clouded by envy, fear, or ignorance. They will look at your strength and call it arrogance, your compassion and call it weakness, your silence and call it emptiness. But their perception of you is not your responsibility, and it surely is not your reality. You must understand that how people see you often has less to do with who you are and more to do with where they are. A broken mirror cannot give a clear reflection, and neither can a wounded soul recognize someone standing whole. When you let other people's views define you, you surrender your power. You begin to live through borrowed eyes, seeing yourself through the fog of someone else's misunderstanding. That, my dear, is how many bright spirits grow dim. Not because their light fades, but because they start believing the shadows cast upon them. Reality, on the other hand, is unshaken. It does not need validation to exist. You are who you are, whether people applaud or ignore you. The truth of your character, your goodness, your potential, all these remain even when unseen. Like the moon behind the clouds, your glow is constant. It is the clouds that shift, not the light. Do not mistake the world's blindness for your invisibility. In life, there will be those who misunderstand your intentions, misjudge your heart, and underestimate your worth. Do not waste your breath explaining the depth of your soul to shallow minds. Those who wish to see you clearly will make the effort. Those who do not will find fault even in your kindness. You are not here to correct everyone's vision. You are here to live your truth, fully and fearlessly. Many times, the world only recognizes value once it is gone. People ignore the diamond when it lies in the dirt, only to realize its worth when it is polished and displayed. But the diamond's worth did not increase with the polish. It was precious all along. You too hold that same truth within you. Whether hidden or revealed, whether praised or ignored, your worth remains unchanged. Do not let anyone's limited sight shrink your existence. You are not an illusion needing proof. You are a living testament of resilience and grace. Let your actions speak quietly where words fail. Let your peace be louder than their confusion. In time, the truth always rises, like dawn breaking through the night. So walk with certainty. Stand firm in who you are. The world may not always see your value, but reality is not built upon their gaze. You are not who they think you are. You are who you know yourself to be, and that truth is unshakable. Rejection is not the end of your story, it is the shaping of it. Every time someone overlooks you, underestimates you, or turns away from your light, life is not punishing you. It is preparing you. The fire that refines gold is the same fire that burns away what was never meant to last. And so it is with rejection. It is not a verdict on your worth, but a direction toward your destiny. Too many people allow rejection to define them instead of refine them. They take another person's inability to see their value as proof that they have none. But the truth is this: when someone rejects you, it says more about their capacity to receive than it does about your capacity to give. Some hearts are not built to hold the greatness you carry. Some minds cannot understand the depth of your vision, and so they walk away, not because you are unworthy, but because they are unready. Resilience begins when you no longer let rejection break your spirit. It begins when you learn to rise, to stand again, even when the echoes of a Noah still ring in your ears. You see, rejection is not a wall. It is a door disguised disappointment. It is life's way of redirecting you to what was truly yours all along. You are not meant to fit everywhere because everywhere is not meant for you. Consider the seed. Before it becomes a tree, it must be buried in the darkness. It must endure pressure, silence, and solitude. It must push through soil that seems to hold it down, not realizing that same soil is what nourishes its growth. That is what rejection does. It buries you, but only so you can root deeper, grow stronger, and rise higher than before. Resilience in rejection is not about pretending you are unaffected. It is about feeling the sting and choosing not to let it poison your spirit. It is about learning from the moment, but never letting it define your value. Each no carries a lesson. Each closed door hides a blessing. And every time someone walks away, space is being cleared for someone better suited to walk in. When people fail to recognize your potential, it is not your job to convince them. The rose does not stop blooming because someone prefers daisies. It simply continues to unfold in beauty, waiting for those who can appreciate its fragrance. You must do the same. Keep blooming. Keep showing up with grace, with purpose, with faith that what is meant for you cannot be lost. Rejection will come again, and it may hurt again. But each time let it strengthen your spine, not soften your will. Let it remind you that those who truly belong in your story will never make you question your worth. Stand tall in the face of dismissal and let your resilience become the song that carries you forward. Because even when the world turns away, you rise, and that rising is your power. Value is not something given to you by the approval of others. It is something you carry within you, like a heartbeat. You do not become worthy because someone says so, and you do not lose your worth because someone fails to see it. Intrinsic value means that you have been valuable since the moment you were created, not because of what you have done, but simply because you exist. Like gold buried deep in the ground, your worth remains the same whether it is displayed in the light or hidden in the soil. Time, circumstance, or neglect cannot change it. Many people forget this truth and begin to measure their value by external things: success, attention, beauty, or praise. They start believing that if they lose these things, they lose their worth, but that is an illusion. You are not the sum of your achievements or possessions. You are the living expression of something divine, something sacred that cannot be quantified. Even when you fall, even when you fail, even when the world turns its back on you, your essence remains gold. Dust may cover it, but dust does not destroy. The problem arises when people allow others to determine their value. They begin to see themselves through the eyes of those who cannot see clearly. When someone calls them unworthy, they start to believe it. When someone overlooks them, they start to disappear inside themselves. But the truth is this: no one has the power to discount you unless you hand them the right to do so. You are not a price tag to be negotiated. You are a masterpiece that cannot be replicated. Gold, when buried, is still gold. It may go unnoticed, but its composition does not change. And when it is finally uncovered, it shines just as it did before. Maybe even brighter for having endured the darkness. You too are like that. The moments when you feel unseen are not punishments. They are seasons of preservation. They are the quiet times when life hides you from those who would mishandle your value. When you recognize your intrinsic worth, you stop chasing validation. You stop begging to be chosen because you understand that being unseen does not mean being unworthy. You begin to move differently, with quiet confidence, with grace that does not need attention to exist. People who know their value do not shout. Their presence speaks for them. Their energy commands respect without ever asking for it. Remember, it is not your job to convince the world of your worth. It is your duty to live in a way that honors it, to stand tall even when others try to diminish you, to love yourself even when love is withheld, to hold on to your dignity even when life tests your strength. For gold never stops being gold, no matter how long it lies beneath the earth. And you, my dear, never stop being worthy, not for a single moment. There is a sacred kind of growth that happens in the shadows, the kind that only comes when you have been overlooked, underestimated, or ignored. When others fail to see your light, the darkness around you becomes the soil in which your strength begins to grow. Being unseen is not a curse, it is a classroom. It teaches patience, endurance, and faith in yourself. Growth through disregard is one of life's most silent blessings, for it shapes you into something unshakable. When people fail to acknowledge your worth, you have two choices: to shrink or to grow. Many choose to shrink, thinking that if they make themselves smaller, quieter, more agreeable, they might finally be noticed. But shrinking never leads to fulfillment, it leads to invisibility. True growth happens when you choose to expand even in the face of indifference. When you decide to keep learning, keep loving, and keep moving forward even when no one claps for you. That is the kind of strength that cannot be taught in comfort. Think of a seed buried beneath the ground. No one applauds its struggle, no one witnesses its cracking open. It lies there in darkness, surrounded by silence, yet something miraculous happens. It begins to grow. That growth is not for the eyes of others. It is for the purpose of becoming. You are that seed. Every moment you have been disregarded was not a rejection. It was an invitation to deepen your roots. Life was preparing you to rise stronger than you were before. When people overlook you, you learn to look within. When you are ignored, you begin to listen to the sound of your own voice. When no one applauds, you learn to clap for yourself. And in that sacred solitude, something beautiful begins to bloom. A confidence that is no longer dependent on the crowd. You start to realize that your value was never in being seen. It was in becoming whole. The world often celebrates the fruit but ignores the process. They cheer for the flower but forget the soil that nurtured it. Yet it is in that hidden place that true transformation happens. Do not despise the seasons where you feel unseen. Do not rush them. For in that quiet time, your character is being refined, your vision is being sharpened, and your spirit is learning how to stand alone. Growth through disregard means understanding that every no, every silence, every dismissal can become fuel for your evolution. It teaches you to find joy in your own progress, to love the journey more than the recognition, to honor your growth even when no one else notices. Because one day, those who once overlooked you will marvel at how far you've come, and you will smile knowing it was their disregard that helped you bloom. What once buried you became the very thing that made you rise. There is a certain kind of peace that comes when you no longer seek validation from the world. When you begin to understand that dignity is far more precious than approval, something inside you changes. You stop chasing applause, stop bending for acceptance, and start walking in the quiet strength of knowing who you are. Dignity is not loud, and it does not beg to be seen. It stands firm like a mountain unmoved by the winds of opinion. When you learn to value dignity over validation, you reclaim the power that was always yours. Many people confuse validation with love, but they are not the same. Validation is temporary, conditional, and often shallow. It comes and goes with the moods of others. One day you are praised, the next you are forgotten. But dignity is eternal. It is built on truth, not applause. When you live with dignity, you know that your worth does not rise and fall with someone's approval. You understand that peace of mind is worth far more than popularity, and self-respect is worth more than being liked. When you start valuing your dignity, you learn to walk away from spaces that do not honor you. You stop explaining yourself to people who are determined to misunderstand you. You stop lowering your standards to make others comfortable. There is a grace that follows a person who knows when to stay silent, when to walk away, and when to stand firm. That grace is born from self-respect. It does not need to shout. Its presence speaks clearly enough. The desire for validation is a trap that many fall into early in life. We are taught to please, to perform, to prove ourselves worthy. But as you grow, you begin to realize that not every voice deserves your attention, and not every opinion deserves your energy. The applause of the crowd can be intoxicating, but it can also be deceptive. If you build your confidence on their cheers, it will crumble when they fall silent. Dignity, on the other hand, builds on the foundation of self-awareness and truth. It does not seek to impress, it seeks to express. It does not bow to false praise, it stands tall in authenticity. There will be times when walking in dignity means walking alone. But solitude is not loneliness. It is sovereignty. It is the moment when you learn that your peace is not up for negotiation. Validation might make you feel important, but dignity makes you feel whole. Choose wholeness. Choose integrity. Choose the kind of quiet confidence that does not depend on being seen or approved of. When you no longer seek validation, you begin to live freely. You speak truthfully, love deeply, and stand firmly, unbothered by the shifting opinions of others. Because those who live with dignity do not need the world's permission to shine. They already know their light is enough. There is a quiet strength that comes from recognizing your own worth, not through the eyes of the world, but through the stillness of your own soul. Divine self-affirmation is the art of remembering who you are when everyone else forgets. It is standing before the mirror and seeing not just flesh and bone, but a creation of purpose shaped by divine hands infused with meaning. When you affirm your worth from within, you no longer chase love or validation outside of yourself. For you understand that what you seek has always lived inside you. The world often teaches you to look outward for confirmation, to wait for someone to tell you that you are beautiful, capable, or enough. But divine self-affirmation whispers a different truth. You already are. You were born whole. You were born worthy. Nothing anyone gives or withholds can add to or take away from that truth. This kind of affirmation does not come from ego. It comes from reverence. Reverence for the soul that breathes within you, for the spirit that has carried you through storms you thought would drown you. When you begin to affirm yourself, you break the chains that keep you bound to the opinions of others. You stop begging for crumbs of acknowledgement from people who do not understand your feast of potential. You start walking in quiet assurance, not because others agree with you, but because you know that your existence itself is a reflection of something divine. Every breath you take is a reminder that you were chosen by life to be here, to contribute, to grow, to shine. That realization is sacred, and it cannot be shaken by rejection or neglect. Divine self-affirmation also means forgiving yourself for the moments you forgot your value. For the times you settled for less, believed you were unworthy, or let others define you. Those moments were lessons, not verdicts. Each one was an invitation to return to yourself, to remember that you are not broken, only unfolding. The same hands that shaped the stars shaped you. The same light that warms the earth glows within your chest. You are not small. You have simply forgotten how vast you are. When you walk with divine affirmation, you begin to speak differently. You begin to move through the world with grace, not arrogance, because you know your worth does not make you better than others. It makes you better for yourself. You no longer compete, you create. You no longer beg, you attract. You no longer doubt, you trust the timing and purpose written into your being. Affirm yourself daily. Speak kindness into your reflection. Remind yourself that you are worthy, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. You are made intentionally, beautifully, and powerfully. And when you finally see yourself through the divine lens of your own truth, no one and nothing can make you forget your value again. So when the world turns its gaze away, when voices grow silent and hands withdraw their praise, do not falter. Stand still in the knowing that your worth was never meant to be measured by the fleeting eyes of others. Hold your head high, breathe deeply, and remember, gold does not beg to be recognized. It simply shines. Let your spirit be that gold. Let your light speak for you. For the one who knows their own value walks in a power that no rejection, no silence, no blindness can ever take away.